Hi everyone, I'm Audrey and this is the Lazy Ass channel. Welcome back to my wedding dress series. This episode is all about the prep work and experimenting I did to see if I can realize the vision I talked about in my last video. Most of this video will be post-narrated by present me, so let's get started.
I was most concerned about the corset part of my dress as I never made anything like that, and also I didn't know if I even liked it on myself. First, I searched for free patterns and I always prefer self-drafted ones as it already accommodates for my measurements. The first video tutorial turned out to be an epic fail regarding the fit. I won't even share the video tutorial and I think I haven't made any recordings of that attempt, sorry for that. But then I found a video from one of the sewers I follow here on YouTube, Vietnamese creator Jess Dang. As fate would have it, she made a corset tutorial for her own wedding series and it was the perfect one for me. You will find the video linked in the description box below. It was very easy to follow and a clear, doable construction. I literally just did everything the same as her except for some tweaking on the cups to make them shallower for obvious reasons. I just reduced the curviness of the curves on those parts and it pretty much did the trick. I've cut and sewed everything together from leftover fabrics and materials I had on hand, and I was more than satisfied with the end result. And I have to say, I loved how it looked on me, so this experiment was a total success.
My second concern was the dramatic A-line skirt, and this was way less straightforward than the corset part. My cornerstones were the following. I knew I will make the skirt from tulle fabric, as it totally goes with the romantic laid-back vibe of our wedding, and it is also a relatively cheap and easy material to source in town. Also, it is quite easy to work with in terms of finishing because you don't have to do anything to finish the edges. Then I knew that I don't want any rigid or boned underskirt, petticoat or crinoline or anything because I thought it will ruin the movement of the flowy tulle skirt. Also, I knew I wanted minimal volume at the waist but maximum volume at the feet with an about 50 to 60 centimeter gradual train towards the back.
I did endless research for this topic and for a while I thought goddess skirts will be the solution. My problem with that were a lack of video tutorials, examples with see-through fabric and also the complicated nature of the whole calculation and construction. Luckily, I stumbled upon a video from another creator I follow, namely Frieda, who makes amazing one-of-a-kind gowns. She was kind enough to share a video about the 3 types of tulle skirts she uses in her designs. You can find the video again in the description below. Her second skirt type matched my vision perfectly, but the calculation was a bit unclear for a while. I had to rewatch the video many times carefully to get the information I needed, which is way more simple than the goddess skirt construction. Her method is basically sewing many half-circle skirts into one majestic skirt. The trick is that the waist circumferences are really tiny, so they only adapt to like 2 or 3 times your waist measurement. But at the feet, it has insane volume. During the research, I already picked up some cheap desktop tulle for the mock-up, so now I only had to make the calculations. The main questions were the number of half-circle skirts and the length of the waist part. For the waist, I decided to do 2 times my waist measurement to have a bit of texture when I gather it up, but to make sure it's still pretty flat with the lightweight tulle. For the number of skirt parts, I hesitated between 10 and 12 pieces in total, but I landed on 12 as it promised more volume and easier calculation for the train parts. I calculated the waist radiuses following Frieda's method of varying ratios, but for the final skirt I ended up using the same radius for all skirt parts. Maybe with a more gathered waistline, Frieda's version gave a better, more interesting texture, but with my mock-up I haven't really seen any sign of that, so I chose the easier route later on. Now I only made half of the skirt as mock-up because it uses a crazy amount of fabric and I figured half is enough to show if I achieved the volume I wanted. So I've cut out 6 half-circle skirts, 3 with the same 115 centimeter length and 3 with gradually growing lengths for the train. Then I roughly basted them together at the side seams and added a gathering stitch at the waist. And here is the result. I was so happy with this, I can't even tell you. The silhouette, the movement, the volume was everything I imagined, and with such a simple construction.
As I said in my last video, this was the point I seriously decided I will make my own wedding dress. So I started to really look into fabrics and color layering. For the corset part, I knew I wanted to make it transparent with some kind of decorations, so I only needed like off-white tulle for that, or at least that's what I thought at the time, and also like channeling, boning, bra foam, etc. For the skirt, I imagined color layering of pinkish nude and warm brown tones to harmonize with the visible skin under the transparent corset. Luckily, the online Hungarian fabric store I sourced most of my fabrics from has a really small storage unit, literally walking distance from our apartment. There you can see and check all the fabrics before ordering. So I went several times to see the weight and feel of the tulle I was thinking of using, and to check different combinations of colored layering. And these are my final choices.
First, I have this blush beige fabric. It's a rayon fabric, so it's really light and feels cold against my skin, so it will be really nice and refreshing in the summer, and it breathes through as well. This will be the lining of the skirt and the base layer. Then I have these warm brown soft tulle layers. I have a darker and a lighter one. I tried many different combinations in the shop, and I came to the conclusion that these three give me the color I desire after layering them together. And then lastly, I have heaps of off-white tulle for the outermost layer. I also have fabric for the veil from this, and also like the sleeves of the dress and the outer layers of the bodice. So I will use a lot of this. So these are the fabrics I will use for my skirt.
After the skirt, I made a second, more serious corset mock-up, in big part to try out the dried flower details seen on the Rara Abyss creations I showed you last time.
I made my first full version from a self-drafted pattern, but then I started to look for free patterns to use for the corset because I wanted to make sure that the center seam of the bra cup will line up with the seam of the corset. So I found this mood fabric pattern, the Parker corset, and I sewed up a first toile from a simple cotton fabric to see if I like the placement and if the size that I chose was right. And this is the channel placement that I imagined. So then I started to iterate the cup of the pattern because the original was way too deep for me, as you can see. So I started to redraft the pattern pieces and change the curves a bit to reach at the end something that that has a curve more like the one that I drafted. So here was the first version, and then I made some changes to have a more rounder shape, and this is the final version. And then I traced my patterns to paper to have more rigidity, so I can trace it better on the fabric. And last night I finally cut out everything from my practice fabrics, which is totally polyester satin and a few layers of tulle. I have 4 layers in one piece, and these are one rigid tulle which have a bit of structure, so I hope it will prevent it from stretching too much. And then I have 3 layers of really soft tulle, And it's nice because it's the same type I will use, but another color, which I ordered for a friend, but it turned out too yellow, even though it was supposed to be vanilla. You can't really see it on the picture, but it's more bright yellow in real life. So now I will baste all the pieces together before sewing them. And also I will make 1 cup with tulle and 1 cup without tulle, because maybe I won't need to put tulle on that, because I want to gather up some in front of the cup. Yeah, I still have to decide that, so I will have 2 versions to work with, and now I will sew everything up. wrapped with an underwire, so I couldn't take it out, but I need something here under the bra cup, and I improvised an underwire from an old notebook that had a spiral, and now I feel justified in storing all my old notebooks even though they are full. This dried flower design was the main thing I wanted to try out, so now it's decided that I will have this and not the lace, which I'm really happy about, because this was quite a hazard and undecided if this will work or not. So yeah, now everything else I will do for the final one, I think.
As you could hear, I deemed this last experiment a success too. This was the last step in preparations, and it was finally time to start sewing the wedding dress of my dreams. Thank you for watching this video until the very end. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you don't want to miss any of the new episodes in this series. Until next time, bye!